So when I first got started in the business, I was 18 years old, I was a full-time student, and had never been in a business, So my first year was a big struggle. It probably cost me more to do the business than what I was actually making, which is really funny because I started to make money and then it ended up costing me money that I didn't even have. So my first year, I was not a success. I didn't make a lot of money. I wasn't good. And after my first year, I really wanted to quit because I felt like it was too difficult. So I called my mentor and I told him, look, it's too difficult. I want to quit. And he said, why? And I said, well, getting customers is too hard. And he said, it's not that getting customers is too hard, it's just that you're really bad at getting customers. Then I said, well, the company doesn't pay. And he said, it's not that the company doesn't pay, it's that the company doesn't pay you. And then I said, well, okay, there's too many problems in the business. There's too many problems in my business. And he said, well, what are you gonna do? I said, well, I'm gonna find another business that has less problems. And here's what he said. He said, well, Mathieu, it doesn't matter what business you do, wherever you go, you're gonna be there. So instead of trying to fix the company, instead of trying to fix your upline, and instead of trying to fix everybody else, why don't you try to work on you? And I had never had this conversation before with anyone. So after my first year, I said, you know what? I'll listen to him. And I'll just do what he tells me to do for the next couple months. And he said 3 things. Number 1, he said, you gotta read books, you gotta listen to audio. Those are your 24-hour coaches. They're always there for you. Second thing he said you gotta do is you gotta watch your association. If you hang around complainers and whiners, you'll never be successful. And number 3, you have to go to all the events, the big events. So for those of you that are in Latin America, it's like the Mexico City event, it's like the Puebla event, it's like the Guadalajara event. Those are the big events. So I had never been to one, and I was living in Canada, and the next event that I had to go was down south in the USA. So it was a very long trip. I didn't have the money to buy a flight. I didn't know how I was gonna get there. I had never even traveled by myself. I ended up convincing some of my friends to go with me. I told them we were gonna go on a road trip. It ended up being 38 hours of hell. They're like, at first we like each other, but at the end, we hate each other. But when we got there, the event was so impactful, it helped me so much that I left that event a different person totally. At the end of that event, I left home, and 2 months after, I became a team coordinator. I was TC and I was 19 years old. It changed my life totally. After that, a year and a half after that, I became an RVP, which was crazy because at 21, I was in a position finally a position financially that was really incredible for me. So what I've learned is that your first step is you have to go to these events. But then the second step is you have to bring a lot of people. So when I went to the event, I got the energy and the motivation to become a TC. But then after, I brought people to these events. And when I brought people, then I became a top producer. So I brought 50 to the next event after I became a TC. I became a top producing TC, then I brought 150, and then 300. And that's when I hit RVP, when I brought 300 people. So basically my advice is this. Number 1, never miss an event that we do. Whether it's in Mexico and Colombia, focus on going to all the events. And number 2, make sure you bring a lot of people. The faster you want to go, the more people you gotta bring. It's that simple. If you want to get to the top of the company as fast as possible, you gotta attend and promote all events.